Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the chairperson of the Burwood East Residents Association. Thanks for the opportunity to come today and provide some more context to the submission that I know that you've already read. My apologies, first of all, for the typo in our submission saying that we preferred a 1 in 1,600 ratio for councillors. It should have been 1 in 16,000. But if you're up for 1 in 1,600, then that would be awesome.
I don't think the city could afford to pay for that many councillors.
You know, it's worth a shot. I guess the main point is that we'd like to take this opportunity to reiterate our concern that the ward boundaries, as they currently appear, seem to be based strictly on population rather than keeping communities together or linking like-minded communities, which we believe is at odds to the council's declared commitment to strengthening our communities. This is evidenced by the current proposal to split 24 communities in total across Christchurch to allow numbers to define the wards. We're not convinced that the 3-ward model proposed will provide greater representation. While the number of councillors per head of population may have been increased, the community board members' increase is debatable in least. We previously had 5 and now we have 6 for a much larger area. Combining the competing priorities of 3 wards instead of 2, we believe is bound to create tension and potential factions, as the same amount of time, effort and resources will now be split amongst 3 wards instead of 2. Where the community boards are not comprised of wards with similar interests, these issues are bound to be exacerbated. We wonder if there is a suggestion that an increased time commitment for the 3-ward model will be required, and will there be an increased equivalent in the stipend to community board members to make up for that increased time? In which case has this cost been considered? If the 3-ward model were to be adopted, we would propose that in order to strengthen communities and utilise the common links and relationships already formed, that the following groupings would provide a more cohesive approach. Burwood Coastal Marshlands, Linwood Woolston Central, Fendleton Riccarton Papanui, Harewood Maclean's Hornby, Cashmere Hallswell Spraydon, and leaving the others as is. We realise that from a purely numbers perspective that some of the above proposed groupings would mean that there would be potentially some need to revisit currently proposed ward boundaries. We acknowledge that we have not provided alternative boundaries as we've not been privy to the population data to enable us to do this. However, we see some obvious areas of conflict in the current model, particularly where governance of natural resources is at risk. For example, Travis Wetlands is proposed to be split between Burwood and Marshlands, and yet Burwood and Marshlands are currently proposed to be on 2 separate community boards. So you have one resource being debated by 6 different wards. We also note that the council has leave to alter the representation formula for each individual area, as evidenced by the allocation of significantly increased representation in the Akaroa, etc. wards. So we ask that there be consideration given to a less formulaic approach and instead the individual community needs of different areas of Christchurch be considered. We do support the need for a realignment, and we understand that a 2-ward model which retains the currently proposed increase in representation comes at a cost. However, we believe this is the best approach given the increasing population of Christchurch and the ongoing challenges for specific communities continuing to recover from the challenges of the last few years. We want to ensure that we not only recover effectively, but that we have the resources to plan ahead and ensure future growth and opportunity in our communities looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very helpful submission for a lot of reasons, and don't fret about not having the mesh block numbers and the bits and pieces.
When we added up the numbers, we know that some of those groupings are going to be quite large.
But it may be that just by a shifting of a line and some realignment to make sure that we don't split communities of interest, because that's what we're looking for, is have we got the communities of interest right? And your comments around Travis Country are very important. So I think it's a very strong argument to not split a community of interest. And we've already had a number of people sort of saying that they're more associated with the Burwood end of the map rather than the Marsden end, and vice versa. So, but it was a great submission, really was. So, Phil?
Just a quick question. Look, thank you for your submission. You've also made a comment in relation to areas or communities, say, which had greater needs, that their community boards have greater resources or increased resources compared with others.
Yes, we were of the understanding that each community board is provided with the same budget, and we had some concerns that there are obviously some areas within the city that have a long way to go in terms of the ability to rebuild their communities and strengthen them following the earthquake, and that we, without wanting to, take all of the resources in Christchurch, we do believe that the East still needs increased resourcing.
Thank you. And the Mayor might say too, we're going to be looking after this review, we're looking at the delegations for community boards.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Look, thank you very, very much. It's much appreciated. And thank you for making the effort to come in and make it the submission in person. It does make it real, so it's very much appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you. Right, the next is...